Welcome into the Toyota Lounge for the DNVR Avalanche podcast powered by your Front Range Toyota dealerships. Today was day one of Avalanche development camp. Lots of players to talk about. I don't know how many of them we'll actually get to, but a lot of guys there. A lot of fun, a lot of good stuff going on. Before we jump into development camp, though, Big E back in the room. He didn't get his chance to express his thoughts on the Avs signing of Erik Brannstrom. So, E, what do you think of the Avs' potential 6D?
Sorry for my absence yesterday, but I'm a big Brannstrom fan. I've always been. I love that he can skate. I love that he can think the game. AJ was there. We talked about it the other day. That rookie camp, that rookie face-off, whatever. The first one that was in... Was it Vegas? Yeah, it was Vegas.
Yeah.
I think so.
Wow.
I get the Vegas and Anaheim.
Yeah,
ones
I get all
really
confused. I know.
Backwards.
Yeah. Anyway, he was unbelievable. And I know it was rookie camp. I'm not that stupid, right? But what I'm trying to say is his size is... listen, you're not going to like him because of his size. His size is not good. You know what I mean? And I always say that about Sammy, too. Like, you don't like Sam Girard because you think he's very physical in front of the net and then he's a powerhouse. That's not what Sammy Girard is. You know?
Yeah.
This guy can think the game, can skate. He makes things happen. It's effortless. You know what I mean? And he's a good player. And I know Forsberg back then really liked him because we had that conversation back then. Peter Forsberg and I at that time when he was a first-round pick for Vegas. It's funny because all three first-round picks that year for Vegas, the first three they've been all gone, but it was funny. Like, they didn't last long. They used them
the
as
only one
assets
left, I think. Yeah.
Well, no, I'm talking about the first year, though.
No, I mean, they've traded every first-round pick they've made
But it was
except
Suzuki,
for Brazon.
Brannstrom, and the guy in Nashville,
Glass.
there, Cody Glass. So all three that year are gone. Obviously, they've been gone
Man,
for a
did I
while.
love that guy.
Cody Glass? Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, he turned out to be a decent... He's an okay
Take a flyer on him
NHLer,
for 4C?
I honestly, funny enough, I loved all three of those guys.
Which
I
one?
thought, oh my God, they set themselves up so wonderfully, and then the guy they kept was by far the worst of the three.
Yeah. Anyway, go back to Brannstrom. It's not easy. It is the NHL. It's a tough league.
Yeah.
Coming over, you're from a different country, and it took him a little bit, Brannstrom, to get going. And it's funny because during the chase of Mark Stone, I remember that I was working with Calgary, and then there was a Carlson chase as well, right? Mm-hmm. So everybody, remember Vegas was like going after those big things, and the one thing that Vegas wasn't willing to get rid of was Erik Brannstrom. They weren't willing to get rid of him.
And I remember at the time, Brannstrom was a tip-top blue-chip prospect, like a top 10 guy. Like,
absolutely.
Everybody thought that this guy was going to be what Quinn Hughes has become.
Yeah, exactly. And then I was working with Calgary at the time, and we weren't willing to let go. Maybe it was Valimaki or whatever it was. That young first-rounder that they wanted as part of the package.
Yeah.
And then finally, Vegas said, screw it. We're putting him in the package.
Good
and
call.
that's how they got Mark Stone.
Now they have a cup.
Exactly. I mean,
good call.
Hey, listen, you can be mad at Vegas all you want. Like, everything they've done has been masterful. Whether people are going to say it's not within the rules or whatever it was. Hey, listen. They've done some great work. You know what I mean? Like, starting with their expansion draft. But Brannstrom was the guy the year before. They didn't get Erik Karlsson. They didn't want to put Brannstrom in. And I think the ownership was like, hey, we go for it. And then that mentality changed. And then since then, it's been crazy a little
Very
bit.
cutthroat.
Yeah.
Very cutthroat.
And then they, obviously they went. And then the next year, they decided to put Brannstrom in there. You know what I mean? And that's who Erik Brannstrom is. It took him a little while. He can skate. Listen, I think it's smart of him to come to this team. It's a transition team, as we know. I think he's betting on himself a little bit like Drouin last year. A little bit like, hey, I'm going to go there for 1 year at 900, right?
Yeah.
Taking a pay cut, right? I'm going to go there, and I'm just going to go and play up to my potential and And some people were a little mad that there's maybe a little bit of a log jam now. Hey, listen, I said it in the pod the day before. I like log jams. It's part of being an NHL player. If you're not willing to fight every day, then you shouldn't be in this league. When I say fight, I'll say it again. Not for violence. Fight within your spot. Like, get your spot. And that's what makes teams better. And if there's 8 capable guys, then that's awesome. Then let them freaking figure it out. And if you're going to lose one on waivers, then that means you did a good job as management. That you know what? Teams know that we're handcuffed and we're going to lose a guy. Or we say it from development camp on till rookie camp, to rookie face-off, whatever it is, make them make decisions. So you know what? Sign another one. If C-Max is listening, like, sign another one. Go. That's all good. Let's make competition, and that's how you get better.
That last bit's important to me. It has to be a competition. If you're gonna go out and give a bunch of guys contracts and then just play Jack Johnson for 82 games in that spot, the logjam makes a lot less sense. Obviously,
it's not much of a log jam as it is just a log.
Yeah,
at that point,
exactly. It's too thick for the beavers to chew through behind it, I guess.
Like Sam Malinsky, then bring it on, man. Bring it on.
Yeah.
If I'm him, bring it on. Let's go.
Yep.
And we all know Brandstrom can play. You guys, you talked about that yesterday.
Yep.
You can play it right, obviously. If I'm a guy like that, like I always say, you got to worry about what you can control. And it's the toughest thing to do as a pro athlete, which is just concentrate on what you can control. But it's human nature, because it's like, oh God. You still look on the paper. You're like, oh God, they signed another guy. Oh God. But as management, it's like, I like it. As a coach, it's like, I like it. Because they're like, oh, nothing is handed to you in this league. Nothing. It's the best league in the world.
You get one injury in, and that guy's in your lineup.
And that was going to be my next thing. You're bang on. Things change. That's why that's why you don't draft by position. Things change.
There's no being nice. If you're a team serious about winning in the NHL, there's no, this is your spot, so you just have it.
Come on, man.
Yeah,
juice boxes.
That stuff happens for
yeah,
top 5 picks, being like, we need to see you fail a lot before we move on.
Why is that though? Why is that?
You tell me.
I'll tell you why.
Please do.
Job justification. That's why first rounders and second rounders will get a better look. Because you're justifying that you made the right pick, so you're trying to save your job. Because you keep making the wrong pick, you're fired. Right? So that's why they get the benefit of the doubt. That's why those guys get better, good ice during training camp, or, instead of the end of the burger ice, they get the caviar ice,
Yeah.
That's why. Which is fine. It's perfectly fine.
Yeah, we'll see. Again, on Brandstrom, I know we talked about him the other day, but having sat on it for a day too, I really start to like the fact that the Avs went out and got a guy who was on an RFA at the end of this season.
Yeah.
And have given themselves an opportunity to potentially extend a guy in their lineup in the future.
Yep.
24 years old, right?
Did he? I think he just turned 25.
He turns 25 in September.
Okay, he's about to turn
He's younger
25.
than Malinsky, and I love Sam. I love Sam.
It's true.
That's
but
young.
Yeah.
Also, like, the situation he was in didn't do him any favors.
Yep.
And he's coming to a situation, the organization takes itself seriously. It has an identity. It has a culture. He gets to come in and just fit into things instead of trying to fix things, which is what the expectation was of him in Ottawa. Very different situation. If it goes really well, they could sign him to a long-term deal. They could just give him a qualifying offer.
Yep. Sort it out later.
Because he should be arbitration eligible next year.
will be,
They
yep.
could just do that. Have a 2-year deal where he's not going to make very much money.
But we'll be in your lineup
Exactly.
for cheap. Yeah.
Exactly.
There's runway for Parker Kelly and for Brandstrom, which can solve a lot of roster problems in the future that they ran into this summer.
I always forget Parker Kelly is 24 years old.
Yeah.
Like, same situation, also going to be an RFA. Obviously, he has a 2-year deal, so it's not as an immediate thing. But, like, if this goes well,
Yep.
we could be talking about multiple contracts here.
Again, Malinsky, not a knock on Sam. I like him.
Yeah.
Brandstrom's younger than him.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, people tend to forget. You know what I mean? So let's all slow down here. Let's all Let's go eat your green vegetables and be ready for camp. I love that. Go fight for it.
Vegetables are gross, but okay.
I don't like vegetables.
Sometimes you got to eat your vegetables during the spot, though.
Yeah. Just look at our pod. Very
A lot of vegetable eaters on this spot.
anti-vegetable stances are going
I'm
on
actually
here.
I'm allergic to green vegetables.
I've tried to make this argument too. It's just green in general.
I said that for years now to my mom and wife.
Poor Megan.
I'm allergic.
I don't know. I've seen her eat pizza.
Oh, I love both. I love both.
Can't go wrong with veggies on pizza, I guess.
You
So
definitely
true.
can.
What?
You definitely can.
Wow. Okay. I'd eat just about anything on a pizza, to be honest.
I'm back in.
I'm back in.
I'm back in.
Anyway, we can move on and get into the first day of Avalanche Dev Camp here. And before we dive in, blanket statement for everything that we're about to talk about. We're going to analyze some of these guys. We're going to talk about some of the things they did well, some of the things they did poorly. This is a development camp.
Yep.
There is no game situations. We're talking about guys who did between 6 to 10 drills today and stuff like walking in alone on an empty net and he shot it pretty hard or whatever. So don't take anything as the gospel here when it comes to our analysis of these guys based on one day of practice, essentially.
It's extremely granular.
Yep.
We're looking at what we have to look at, but bigger picture stuff. If we liked a guy's day, it doesn't mean he's going to be a superstar. If we didn't like a guy's day, it doesn't mean that he's a bum.
Yep.
It might mean he's a bum.
In your mind, at least.
Of course.
Development camp.
I rocket guys out of there immediately.
Eject.
It's a good thing I don't run a team because I would be pulling plugs on dudes after days like that.
Don't even come back for day 2.
Yeah.
No.
I would be like, you have an injury.
That's cold.
Works for Vegas, man.
I guess we should start there. I know we've already talked about it, but no William Zellers. He was injured and unable to come onto the ice today. Also, no Torrey Pittner and no Jake Fisher. Both of them had academic things to do today that they were already promised, so they weren't skating on the ice today. You also had Oscar Olausen in a no-contact jersey, and who was the other guy? Gay was
Cooper?
Cooper Gay was also in a no-contact jersey.
They are never again allowed to invite dudes with the same name.
Right, because there's a Cooper as a last name.
There's a Riley Cooper and a Cooper Gay. They're never allowed to do this again. Illegal. Straight to jail.
At least there weren't that many names that were hard to pronounce this time.
True.
The only one I really struggled with was a goalie.
Oh, God. The one from Michigan?
Yeah, Bruce Aweski. Bruce.
Bruce.
He's American too.
Yeah.
Yeah, but the name isn't
Not
American.
even European. I know.
It's a lot of letters that I don't know how to pronounce in conjunction.
It's like that Saturday Night Live skit. Remember when he talks about Brady Shea? He's like,
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
Whoa. Whatever
That's
he
an
says.
S. That's a
Why
K.
is
That's
there
a J.
in there?
Why is there a J in there?
Yeah.
This was a very much let's do that hockey type of
Let's
day.
do that
so
hockey.
that applies quite well. I'm here for that. The other side of that is we're not going to talk about the goalies at all. I know we already talked about this too, but there is genuinely nothing you can even really take from this dev camp about the goalies. We'll probably talk about them when they do the scrimmage because then you can say, hey, look, this is how he looked in a game situation. But for today, nothing to really say about the goaltender.
Today was goaltenders getting hung out to dry.
Yep.
Just over and over and over. So if you're trying to take anything meaningful out of it, it's just like, come on.
Yeah.
It's just mean.
It's Def Camp.
So
Yeah.
don't worry too much about that. Next up, we are going to get into some of the main guys, including Cal Ritchie. But before we do that, I'm going to tell you about the best way to get a job, or rather, the best way to recruit someone for a job. That is Indeed. If you need to hire, you need Indeed. Indeed is the best matching and hiring platform. In fact, with over 350 million global monthly visitors, according to Indeed data, and a matching engine that helps you find quality candidates fast. You can ditch all the busy work with Indeed for scheduling, screening, and messaging so you can connect with candidates even faster. And Indeed doesn't just help you hire faster. 93% of employers agree Indeed delivers the highest quality matches compared to other job sites, according to a recent Indeed survey. So make sure you're getting over with Indeed, especially if you're looking to hire. They get you out there in front of everybody. You get tons of responses. So go get with them. If you haven't gotten with them today, listeners of this show will get a $75 sponsored job credit to get your jobs more visibility at Indeed.com/AllCity. Just go to Indeed.com/AllCity right now and support our show by saying you heard about it on this podcast. Again, that's Indeed.com/AllCity. Terms and conditions apply. Need to hire? You need Indeed. Once you've got your person all hired up, maybe you hired somebody to gamble for you. Maybe you're running a whole racket there. Make sure they're gambling on Bet365 with the code of DNVR365. Jump on it. When you use that code, you can get a $5 bet in and get $150 in bonus bets. Or, if you would prefer, you can also get a first bet safety net of up to $1,000. So that'd be $1,000 in bonus bets paid back if your bet does not hit. Either one is yours to choose with the DNVR365 code over at Bet365. My personal favorite bet right now is betting the over on Rockies games, especially in the late innings.
Jesus, did you see that fiasco last night?
I did not see the fiasco. I did see the stat.
Dude.
Rockies pitchers from the 7th to the 9th inning have a 6.26 ERA this year.
It was a creative way to lose a game.
Sounds like the Rockies.
It was creative.
Well, maybe next time Nolan Jones can just throw everybody out. Just rely on that. Can you bet on assists in baseball? I don't know. I haven't looked that closely. You might be able to. Whatever it is you're betting on, do it with Bet365 and the DNVR365 code. Of course, you must be 21 or older and physically located in Colorado. Please gamble responsibly. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem and wants help, call or text 1-800-GAMBLER. Second period of the DNVR Avalanche podcast. Let's start this segment by doing this. Let's each pick one guy who you thought stood out today at Dev Camp. I already asked AJ this earlier. Are you sticking with the same guy?
Well, I don't want to take Cal Ritchie right off the top and then have everybody else scramble. So
That's all right.
I have a different pick, so we're good as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah.
perfect. I'm taking Cal Ritchie.
They're, I think, pretty unequivocally, Cal Ritchie was the best guy on the ice today.
Yeah.
It's just a matter of that was kind of the expectation for him.
Yeah.
But not much to give him a markdown on.
Yeah, he is the only, top 40 pick?
Yeah, Behrens was what?
Like 52, something like
Yeah,
that.
so that would
guess
be the
top
next
50 pick.
closest. Yeah.
That was there. It looked like it.
Yep.
He had really good size, but I wonder if the size stood out because it's a small group they brought to Dev Camp
some small
this year.
stars playing in that group with
Definitely.
him for sure.
And so I do wonder how much of that was playing a role where it was just like relative to the guys. He looked kind of ginormous.
Yep.
But the skill level it's all there. It was everything that they asked him to do, he was really good at. The skating, the physical stuff when they barely got into it. Anything with the hands, all of it just seemed to click, and I really liked one of my favorite things to do at these types of camps where they're not in hockey situations, you watch how guys interact. You watch how they talk to coaches, you watch how they talk to teammates.
Yep.
He asks a lot of questions. He wants to know little details. He had a lot of conversations with Brian Wilsey in the session that we saw, the full practice session. He's talking to Wilsey a lot and following up on tiny details like that. That's a guy trying to get it, trying to get better, understands, all right, they're giving this information to me for a reason. I'm trying to maximize it. And Taylor Makar did a lot of this too, by the way. And I really like that about Ritchie. I like that interacts with the guys that he's in groups with. He'll talk to them. He looks like he's having fun. I'm not sure anybody had more fun than Boston Buckburger. He was just a kind of a goofball out there
He's
at
talking
times.
to everybody, yeah.
Yeah,
A
he's
guy
very.
being dudes moment.
He was just like, that was a guy that just was like loving the moment he was in.
Yep.
And you appreciate that.
And he leaned on the coaching staff a lot too. He was talking to Kim Weiss a lot, which I really respected.
By the way,
Some pointers.
best defender at this camp,
Yeah,
Kim White.
he's
Kim-
so cool.
Kim Weiss, there was one drill where Kim Weiss was having to defend guys, and I cannot remember who it was,
Yeah, I
but
don't
Rudo and I were watching it early on, and we were like, she's erasing people. They just aren't getting around her. So Cal Ritchie, Joe, like, he's supposed to be the best looking guy here. He was. He just was. And I want to see him in a game situation, but this is our first live look at him, and I was like, oh.
It's good.
I want to see him in open ice. I want to see him in a skill situation.
For sure.
But looking at the individual tools on a granular level as we did today, I'm in. Overreaction is he's going to be an all-star.
I'm going to give the nitpickiest of nitpicks here just to have something on the other end of the argument, because Cal Ritchie scored like 40 goals today.
Dude.
And he was launching bombs. His release is a little slow.
Okay.
He at times he likes to load up on it a little bit too much.
Yeah.
And again, I'm nitpicking as deep as you can nitpick on this one. But sometimes at the NHL level, that quarter of a second is the difference between a stick in the lane and not.
Yep.
There were three guys whose shots jumped off the ice to me today, and Cal Ritchie wasn't one of them.
Hillebrand.
Yep. That dude has a bomb.
It was Hillebrand, it was Riley Cooper, and it was Christian Humphreys. Those three guys were wiring pucks where I was like, oh, okay.
Yep.
Anyway, Cal Ritchie. I got to steal the easy one.
Anything to add on Ritchie?
Liked Ritchie too. I liked the way he moved with his size. Like, there is a size separation between Hillebrand, Makar, and Ritchie.
Yep.
They're clearly the bigger guys in this camp, and often were in similar clusters, so the size maybe wasn't as obvious in those clusters, but the way that Ritchie moves along his edges, and the mobility that he possesses gives him a speed that I think is necessary at 6'2", but there is some power in his stride as well.
Yeah.
Here's what I'll say about a guy like that. So you look at the profile, right? First rounder. Here's what you need. Fair or not, you got to look above everybody else at development camp, because you're better than them today. That's why you're a first rounder, right? So you got nothing to gain, meaning like perception. You know what I mean? Of course you got a lot to gain. You got to learn and meet the staff and, eating and all that kind of stuff. That's what it's about. But as far as looking out there, like, you better look as the best guy out there, because then as a staff you look like a moron. You're like, oh God, our first rounder looks like shit. You know what I mean? So he looks good. I agree with you. Nothing more to add, except we talked about Walensky last year in rookie camp. We're like, he's got nothing to gain. He can only hurt himself. But he did what he had to do, and then it was on to the next step.
Yeah.
So for Cal Ritchie, got injured last year, wasn't at def camp. He didn't skate did he? No, he was
did
on
not
a def
skate
camp,
at
out
all.
at
Yeah.
rookie faceoff.
None of it, man.
Exactly, none of
We
it.
get to see him at anything.
Then go to training camp, and then he has a good year, right? He has a good year. So now he's into the train tracks, right? So he's got to do a good impression,
Yep.
which is expected at development camp. Then it's rookie face-off next, So, yeah, easy pick for you. You like the easy picks, that's why.
I will add, I wasn't counting Oscar Olesen in my. He was the highest guy here.
Yeah.
He was rehabbing.
He wore
was-
no contact.
He wore no
today,
contact.
yeah.
He didn't participate in everything. He was kind of in and out of stuff. Like, I'm obviously not
Yeah.
counting him in that list.
On a day where you watched Cal Ritchie take a bunch of dudes' lunch money in corner battles and puck protection battles,
Yeah.
Olausson didn't participate in those things. So
Right. A little squirrely with the puck.
Yeah.
It looked like he looked really rusty.
it looked like he hadn't really played with a puck in a while.
Yeah.
For sure.
Given that he had, what was it? I think shoulder surgery?
Yeah, I want
I-
His shoulder.
Would be willing to bet that he probably has not.
to. Yep.
Summer.
Get out of here.
My freaking hate.
All right, who wants to pick next?
Go ahead.
Sean Behrens.
Let's go.
You could tell among the defensemen too, that he was sort of leading them in a little bit
For
of that.
sure.
There's a familiarity too with these camps too that you kind of count on him to emerge as a leader. But in the way that Malinsky or C at the rookie tournament last year, I could see them eyeing Sean Behrens for a very similar role, just based on the leadership he showed in some of these drills. But beyond that, how he looked in the drills, the puck protection drill, very aggressive and just kind of smothering on his guy. But within reason, obviously, this is still Dev Camp. They're not out there two-hand shoving guys either. But there were some shoves. I appreciated that from him. It was very tactful. And then the puck, the drill along the blue line where they're looking for their spot, and then they add 2 little tires in the front. He looked to be the most seamless in doing it. Head up the whole time, smooth handling, and the shot could stand to be more powerful itself.
Shot
but you
needs some
like
work, for sure.
You like the vision behind it and how easy and effortlessly that comes to him. So just a couple of things that stood out about him. I do think he separated from his peers just in the small sample that we got from day one.
Every year in Dev Camp, we have a guy where polish is the word we talk about, and I think that's the word for Sean Behrens at this thing. I particularly liked the puck retrieval drills along the wall for him. He had a couple of nice keeps along that blue line in that drill, and maybe more impressively, on the far side, on his backhand side, just so consistent at being able to pick that puck off the wall. Eric will tell you how hard that really is in the NHL.
It is.
He looks like a guy that can handle the puck when it comes to those types of situations at a high caliber level.
There was one drill in particular where they were along the wall and they were sending out pucks out high, and they were trying to get into the middle of the ice, and Behrens kept grinding it to a halt because he wouldn't let the guy get off the wall with the puck.
Just said nope.
Which was like the basic beginning of the drill, and Behrens was like, He was just erasing him. Now he's going against other defensemen, and this is not a very talented puck-moving group of defenders that is at this camp. So it's like important caveats here, but watching when we talk about polish, you just see the maturity. You see where his game is already so much more advanced than the other guys. Where what is he learning in this? Where he's just erasing the guy. Like if you're playing a real game, the drill never gets done because he takes the puck away.
You're going the other direction.
Yeah, and watching his stick work, he's never going to be physical.
Yep.
Like, he plays physically for a guy his size, but he's never going to be, he's not a mauler. He's a little fella.
Like, he'll stand a guy up at the blue line,
Absolutely.
but he's not going to send a guy into the first row.
Yep.
Unless it's Alex DeBrincat. I would like the organizational...
Him and Sam Girard going to tag team
Exactly.
that dude.
The smalls.
The disdain for Alex DeBrincat needs to hit the next generation as
Brandstrom
well.
can hit the elbow on him too.
Exactly. Perfect. Let's let the Mighty Mites fight this out. But with Behrens, polish was there defensively. I'm dying to see the kid in a game situation because he was so smooth in everything he did today. Where you're just like, good.
Sorry.
Go ahead.
Just going to keep talking about him. He looked so good in his pro debut, so confident. Obviously, still a lot of adjustment to happen there, but I think the confidence that carried over from college was really important in a young defenseman. And pouring into the defensive side of his game, the area that AJ's really excited to see in game action, is something that earned him, recognition within the team for the defensive defenseman award within the team. It's cited as the biggest area of improvement for him based on DC's point of view. And to hear Sean talk about it too, the reason it was so important for him to make that improvement is because he knew his path to the NHL required it. Yep. And we talk about the forward thinking that we see in these young players, and he knew coming into college that he was the puck moving guy with offensive upside, but he knew he had to be more than that. And he still finished out his junior year with a career high in points. So he didn't abandon that instinct of his. He just got better defensively. And I think to our point about him not being the most physical guy, that is all still true, but ever since he got his body right in the offseason, he has been more physically engaged. And I think that is a part of his game that we'll see at the next level a little bit more.
We'll get Eric's thoughts on Behrens in just a second, as well as jump into one of the standout camp invites of today. But before we do that, I want to focus on Sean Behrens not being a mauler. Another time you don't want to be a mauler is when you're taking care of your man parts.
It feels like this is the read every day.
I've got a different it changes up a little bit every time. Go get yourself some Manscaped.
Every door is a side door with this thing.
Exactly. Use code AVS to get 20% off and free shipping over at manscaped.com. Get their Ultra Performance Package 5.0. Of course, it has the lawnmower trimmer that won't maul you, but it has tons of other tools as well, whether it be their toner, they've got deodorant, they've got soap, they've got a nose hair trimmer, you name it. From beard to balls, they've got you fully covered over at Manscaped with whatever grooming you might need to do. So get over there with Manscaped, use that AVS code to get 20% off and free shipping today. And once you've taken care of your manscaping, and I highly recommend you take care of your manscaping first, then go get yourself a Coors Light.
Yeah, the order of operations is important
It matters
here.
there.
Don't do that one first.
You drink too many Coors and then get into the manscaping. It's an adventure you don't want to have.
When you're manscaping, you don't want to be chilling. You want to chill after you're done manscaping. And Coors is the beer made to chill.
Honestly, excellent.
The mountains turn blue right on the can for you, so you know when it's ice cold. Brewed right here in Golden, Colorado. It's the beer that I reach for when I want to chill. So go grab yourself a Coors Light today, or better yet, get it delivered right to your front door with CoorsLight.com/DNVR. Thanks to Instacart, you barely even have to get up off the couch to get your Coors Light. Go get with them. Please party responsibly. Coors Brewing Company, Golden, Colorado.
Please don't manscape on the couch.
Yeah, no. Do that in the bathroom.
Yeah. There's a time and a place for everything. The couch is where you do the Coors. The bathroom is where you do the manscaping.
Third period of the DNVR Avalanche podcast. Eric, did you want to add anything on Behrens?
Yeah, I'm going to say the same thing I said. Tone down a little bit from Ritchie. You know what I mean? Like, hey, this is 2 or 3 development camps, right? What is it for him?
I feel like
2,
it's
3.
got to be 3.
3,
Was he
right?
healthy at last year's?
Well, I mean, he's been around.
Yeah,
Listen,
it would
the
be his
nerves are
third year.
gone. You know, part of a good program at DU, they win the national championship. So those are little steps right now that he's taking. I mean, you got to look good. If you don't look good, then they were wrong about you. You know what I mean? And then we wouldn't be talking about him. I think if you ask people, Rudo's walking around today, who's the top 3 prospects? And, you know, Behrens is in there from everybody's
A
point
lot
of
of
view.
people said Behrens.
You know what I mean? So it's like, those are the steps you got to do. And then you're taking it this week. He looks good. He should look good. And he should look better than a 17 or 18-year-old that just come and got drafted a few days ago. It's raw, and you're nervous, and you know what I mean? And that's part of development. That's why it's called development camp, right? So you go in there, you go and breathe a little bit. So that's the only thing I'm going to add about him. Looking forward to seeing him in real games. When I say real games, he is now a pro. So pro you don't play against, you know, guys your age or below your age or whatever. Not you're playing against physical specimen. You're playing against, and I'm not worried about him. I'm not saying that. I'm saying, but he was smart enough to figure out his game in college, because we talk about identity all the time. He knows he's not going to be Quinn Hughes or Cal Makar. I'm going to have to be Mr. X. You know, Brandstrom. I don't know. I'm using examples, right? You know,
I've always said Torrey Krug.
Torrey Krug. Perfect. There you go. Yeah.
If he absolutely maxed out, he could be a pretty
Awesome.
like a Torrey Krug,
Good.
like a diet Torrey
Probably
Krug.
more of a poor man's Torrey Krug, yeah.
Yes.
Charlie McAvoy. Poor man's
I would take either of those,
Are we-
honestly.
I mean, if he turns into
Altering
Charlie
him and adding
McAvoy,
5 more inches to him? Because I would buy that. Absolutely.
The thing with Behrens and Ritchie at this thing is, to be honest with you, the expectations were for them to look good, and they did.
Yeah.
But I'm way more excited to see them in a couple of months at the rookie
Yes.
face-off as compared to
100%.
this.
As we've said, as Eric mentioned recently, there's usually only something for these guys to lose.
Yep.
These are the big guns. We want them to look good. They look good. We will probably spend less time talking about them as this goes on.
Yep.
Because we want to see what the other guys have to offer. We expect these guys are rad. Guess what? They're rad.
All right, then I'll pick a guy. Is it my turn?
Yep, you're up.
I'll stick with the goalies. You know, It's the year of the goalies. It's the year of the drafting goalies.
We're not going to talk about goalies.
No, I know you said that, but
Eric
I'm
picks a
going to
goalie.
use I'm going to use Cloutier. You know why? Because I talked to him, and you could see
Because he's French.
the nervousness in his voice, and just kind of like overwhelmed a little bit. Great humble kid. You know what I mean? Like I thought it was so fun it was refreshing to talk, and then by the end of the 3-4 minutes that I was talking with him in our native tongue, you know, you could tell he was more relaxed, and now you could see the real him, you know, like the true self that he is, and not so like and talking. And now you could tell he was just like, okay, a little familiarity here, you know, which is something stupid. It just happens to be the language, right? You know what I mean? Where it's like, he's like, oh my God, like, you know, and I'm not going to tell you he didn't play in the USHL. He doesn't know English. It's not what I said. But this is the NHL. It's nerve-wracking. It's been a whirlwind. He went to Vegas. He gets drafted, comes straight here. You're like, it's a lot. It's a lot for those kids. And that's where I say Ritchie, to a certain extent, even though he wasn't there, you know what I mean? He went through the media stuff last year. He went through the, you know what I mean? Like being a first rounder. And same thing with Sean. But you can see the rawness. I'm just talking about Behrens. Like same thing the last few years. He's
Is he the highest drafted guy here today?
who?
Cloutier.
Well, hold on.
For
the
goalies,
one guy,
yeah.
Zylers is hurt.
Well, because, yeah.
Nabokov's not there.
Yeah, Nabokov's not here. Zellers
Yeah,
isn't
Fisher
here.
wasn't here either.
Fisher and...
Karan, I don't know where. Did he go after Cloutier, though? I think he did.
Yeah, Karan did go after it.
Yeah.
But he didn't skate either.
It didn't matter. Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
So yes, the highest from this year's
So,
draft, at least for today.
Right?
yes,
Now he's going through, right? He's going through the trenches, and it's...
we got our sights on him.
Well, I'll tell you one thing. I don't care if it's development camp or not. Like, you put on an NHL jersey, it's overwhelming. It is, because you're like, oh my God, that's why I say, and you guys know my take on development camp. I hate it for the fact of the management. You know what I mean? Like, it's kind of like, you know what I mean? Like, you hate it, and you hate it for the trainers, and you hate it for the equipment guys, and you hate it for, you know, it is 4th of July, and, you know, but for a kid's standpoint, it's awesome, right? Because that's, I mean, you're learning, it's an important part of your development. And
Look how excited Max is in LA.
no, that's what I'm saying. Yeah,
Like,
that's why I
huge
say I
thing.
take it for granted. But then I see this Cloutier guy. You put a jersey, you're on the ice. This is a French kid. Like, you know, for him, Patty Waugh for sure is a big deal. You know what I mean? And, you know, obviously coached the Avalanche, played for the Avalanche. You know, it's a big name. So it's like, oh, I'm on the same ice that Patrick Waugh used to skate with every day. You know what I mean? Or Craig Billington. No, I'm kidding. Biller, I love you. It's all good. But you know what I'm saying.
That's a side swipe.
No, it's a joke. God, I respect everyone that's played. But I'm saying, as a goalie, it's overwhelming, or as a player, it's overwhelming. It's your first time around, and you don't know anyone. And you know, I always say Europeans, it takes them, and you know, a little bit of time in the NHL. Same thing. That's why I like when they have somebody from their own country with them. It's just, he just makes you feel better. Look at the Finns, how good they get along on this NHL team. They do, you know what I mean? So there's a big part to that. So it's, you're walking around and you're going to dinners and you have a roommate, and you know, you gotta, you know, it's a little bit like college. You walk in and then, oh hi, you know, I'm AJ and you're my new roommate. You know, so there's a lot of emotions for those kids. So that's why I'm picking this guy today. It's the draft of the goalies. We'll always go back and say this is when they pick 3 guys in the draft, right? And then we'll have a beer together in 10 years and talk about, you know, who panned out the best, and then we'll be able to say like, oh, I remember his first day of development. He was so nervous, and you know, so it's not necessarily a non-ice play like Rudo said, because we're gonna stay away from goalies.
Yeah,
Me, it was
I'm not
more
adding nothing to this.
Exactly. No, what I'm saying is it was more about the rawness of being a kid and going on the ice, and so different than Behrens, or you know what I mean, like where you've been around. You know what I mean? Big difference.
All right, there's your goalie. I am going to take Marek Hejduk as what I think is probably not only the best invite guy here, but maybe one of the best forwards on the ice today. Not the Cal Ritchie levels. In fact, directly got owned by Cal Ritchie once or twice. But
Yeah, he got beat up a little at the end.
But outside of that, the kid just did everything right today. He looked good in every single drill that he did. He has clearly a level of talent there. He was rifling pucks into the net. He looks good on his feet. I get it. This is just drills. We'll see on come Friday what he looks like in a game situation, but I don't know that he could have done a lot more for himself than he did today.
But he's one of the best skaters.
Yeah. Any other
Yeah,
thoughts?
I agree.
Okay.
I agree with both of it. I thought he looked. Polished. He looked good.
Yep.
Oh, I love little edgy, right? Little edgy. Big edgy, little edgy. Twin brother David got an internship at town right now. He's working hard downtown Denver.
Aw.
Mom was in the stands. I think Dad was nowhere near in sight. Didn't want to take away from probably his son, which is great, I love the kid. He's a great kid. Obviously, grew up with my son, and they're 2 weeks apart, so it's great. I've always said, he's a great skater. He's a good shooter. It's just a matter of putting it all together. He's NDTP kid. Going to be a junior at Harvard. Went in there early in college. You know what I mean? Wasn't the 20-year-old freshman that a lot of guys are. So, it's just a matter of putting it together, and this should be a big season for him. After 2 relatively quiet seasons. Hey, listen, the NCAA is a good freaking league. We talked about that today. People think it's like, oh, it's a good league, especially if you're kind of underage a little bit. It can eat you up a little bit. So, I think it's a development in progress for Merrick, and then it's going to be a big junior year for him. But you're right. He's a good skater. He's a good shooter. He's a good person. He's got the hockey bloodlines.
Let's be real. It's a
love the kid.
long path to professional hockey for that kid, but having a good day one of Dev Camp is a pretty good start.
Absolutely. I love the pick.
It has to start somewhere.
Yeah, right.
I love the pick. I love it.
So, I'm
Your
going
pick,
with
meaning.
Edgy.
Your pick, yeah.
I love it.
One of the guys I liked today. Are there other names that we want to touch on? I know I have one, but I'll let you guys go first if you have any names you want to talk about or shout out.
Yeah, we've been here for a couple of years now, but Colby Ambrosio continues to look at these camps. Really good skater, really good hands, really natural feel for the game.
Yep.
Really small.
Yep.
I just don't know that he's going to be good enough
To make up the size difference.
at the things he needs to do in order to be successful in pro hockey. But for a dev camp, once again, I really liked him.
I have really liked him. It's been hard for him in college to find his role, too.
Yeah.
It's been really competitive down the middle, and I think that has made it hard. He hit the transfer portal and is going to use that COVID year of eligibility to maybe fight
Get
for a
little
spot
more
elsewhere.
opportunity, yeah.
I think it's huge for him because I think that's what's held him back from standing out in college with BC. But I liked Sage Weinstein, particularly in the very similar drill to the one that I also liked, Behrens, the one where they're walking the blue line. Yep. Another one whose head was up, and it just looked pretty seamless. And similarly, I liked Boston Buckberger. He is an intriguing player, too. Obviously, he was very jovial on the ice, but I thought that his first 3 strides are kind of explosive, and I want to see then how that translates to the game. Does he play with pace? Decent amount of speed. It looks like he has that kind of power to do as much. Obviously, there's some familiarity. He was on the second pair at DU with Steve's brother, so a little familiar there. But I thought he looked pretty good in this camp, too, among the defensemen that are there.
He's got the best name in camp. That's for sure.
Really good name, too.
Boston.
Way better than all
Buckberger.
these dudes with 2 first names.
Bucky. Bergie. Boston. Beantown. It's endless. His name is endless. You can just
Triple
call him
B.
whatever you want. You know what I mean?
That's actually a great question for him. What
oh
are
my
his
God.
nicknames?
I'd call him Beantown, but
He's probably got a lot.
Boss Burger.
probably wanted to go to
Burger.
BU and
It
then
better
ended up at
not be
DU.
He would have
Bucky.
been so good
No,
at
that'd be
BU.
terrible.
You can't have a dope name like Boston
end up with
Buckberger and be
Bucky, yeah.
nicknamed Bucky.
That's
Bucky.
not good
Bucky.
enough.
That's a war crime.
Anyway, wanted to go to BU, got shut down, so I had to settle for DU. So.
Safety school. You
yeah,
know?
won a championship instead.
Shush.
The one guy I would shout out is Nikita Prischapov. I can say it. I swear.
Wow.
7th round guy. Didn't really know a lot about him. He comes in today. Did everything pretty well. Has a pretty good shot. The skating, I think, was the biggest thing for me. I was concerned about it. And it was good enough, dare I even say good, against his peers today. and that's encouraging. It looked like a guy who could play against this level of competition.
Yeah, there were things to like. He certainly was one of the big mysteries walking in.
Yep.
And I think has made keeping a closer eye on him viable for the rest of this week and then beyond. But
obviously a long way to go still.
But it was an intriguing day for him.
Yep.
My take on, I got to be careful what I say. Because I agree with Rudo. Like you got to start somewhere, right? I agree with that. I'm saying working for a team. Forget about working for a team. For me, I never really gave a craps about development camp because of. Hey, you know what? Hopefully the guys are doing their job, the scouts and everything, and
if you're on the pro side, there's 3 guys worth watching at the time.
Exactly. No, but even management side, like I'm talking about high end management or the Avs and. It's like, okay, I can't wait. I'll see them in rookie camp, or I'll see them in, where development camp for me, and you guys know my expressions, like, what I gave a crap about was interact with kids at dinner, interact with kids at Top Golf, interact with kids in the locker room, see how guys treat the equipment guys, see how guys treat the medical guys, see how guys treat the stuff at family sports. Like, you know what I mean? Like, there's a piece of trash on the ground. You walk by, or do you take it, you put it on the trash? Who's a sausage? Who's a moron? Like, who's a dingleberry? For me, that's what I look for. And then you hope that you've actually invited or picked all great character kids, right? Because you can say you're about character and you can be about character. So, for me, my thing was always that. I enjoyed, because it is laid back and it is fun, and it is fun to go to Maggiano's or whatever it is that they go to team dinner and then they play I don't know, chase the ace, or like play a little card game with the fellas and just to see how they are, and that's kind of what I took a lot out of development camp, and I'm not downplaying it's all about skates and sticks.
This isn't a development camp, this is an extended combine interview.
Exactly.
This is what you're doing out here.
Yeah, I mean, that's, you spend time with them, you get to know them, and that's again, Peter Budaj became one of my all-time favorites. Why? Because he was so freaking bad at golf, and it was the first development camp, and he showed up with his flip-flops, and it's like, we're at the Ridge Golf Course, and he's never swung a freaking golf club in his life. And like I said, he's in freaking flip-flops, but you spend 18 holes with him, and you're like, all right, he's a great kid.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Look, he's still working, still playing, and it goes a long way, because if you are a sausage, you're not lasting.
Okay.
Don't be a sausage.
On top of this, I've already seen people ask about it in chat. Pavel Francouz now has a new role with the Colorado Avalanche. Megan, you talked to him with his interview at the podium or the table or whatever we're calling it today. Let's roll that footage of Frankie talking.
It's all good? Fire away.
I guess Habs fans are pretty excited you're back. How did all of this kind of come to be to kind of come back and help out in different ways?
I mean, it goes all the way to the point where I was retiring. I'm not retiring officially, but I knew I'm not gonna play this year. And I had this discussion with Craig Billington. He told me about what they're trying to, accomplish, trying to get the depth in the goalie position, and he offered me I can help out with the scouting, and that's how it all started. So that's this cooperation lasted the whole season. We were preparing the list for draft, and when this development camp was getting closer, Peter Budaj was leaving the organization, and Craig just offered me that I can come and be around the young goalies, which I was really happy about.
How hard is it to shift from player mentality to a scouting mentality?
It's a different, it's a bit different life and different perspective, but also, even when I was on the bench, like I would look at other goalies, and I feel like that kind of trained my eye, and that kind of makes things easier for you because you know what the goalie does, what's his strength, and you're trying to predict their future. So, I think that's a big part of being able to kind of put the goalie somewhere in the list, and it's fun. I mean, we had this group called Goalie Department, where was me and Craig Billington, Peter Budai, and a couple more guys from the staff from the organization, and all we did was watching goalies and talk about them. So
With some of the goalies taken in this draft, are there any that you in particular watched really closely, and what should we be excited about with some of these young players?
yeah, we watched Luka very well. He's the only guy who was drafted, and he's able to be on this camp. So I've seen tons of video on him, and feel like I know him better than his parents. But uh, him specifically, he's a really young goalie. The basics he has in his game are already really strong, and he has a good pathway going to the college. So we think if he keeps developing the way he is, he can be a really good goalie in the future.
Pavel, you were productive in your last season with the Avs. I think about that 46 save night in Carolina, some of those other wins. At what point did you realize, though, that maybe some of the health stuff was a problem long term? And talk us through kind of ultimately the retirement decision.
Yeah, I feel like the injuries were kind of creeping on me. Slowly. It was the hips and then the groin. My back was bothering me for a while too. So I feel like I was kind of like falling apart. But the main cause was my knee. It was something I was dealing with longer time, and it just got into the point where it would every time I would do something, it would get swollen or really painful, and nothing was helping. So we knew that it's a cartilage damage. There's not much you can do about it, and I just realized that this time I'm gonna listen to the body and just do what's need to be done.
How do you reflect on your time with the Avs? It seems like you really grew here as a player. You won a cup. It seems like you've accomplished a lot.
It was the best time, to be honest. Like I feel like my career was kind of like taking small steps. I established myself in the Czech league, then I went to KHL, kind of start over, and same thing happened here in North America. But I would never dream about playing with such a good players and winning Stanley Cup. So it was the ultimate dream.
What sort of advice do you hope to give these guys?
Just enjoy it, because I just mentioned, I feel like I just started playing and all of a sudden I'm retired. So I don't even know how quickly it happened. And looking back, you're looking at the moments when you're like, I wish I enjoyed more and stuff. So I'm just trying to pass this message to them.
Spent 3 years in the KHL. The Avs' top pick is one of the better goalies in the KHL. You look at the NHL top goalies, a lot of them are Russian and from that league. What is it about that league that is developing such great goalies that you know from your time there?
Yeah, I mean, they have some good coaches there for sure. They have a lot of young hockey players in their system, so they have a lot of to take from. But I feel like the more goalies they have in NHL, the starting goalies like Vasilevsky, Varlamov, Sorokin, Shesterkin, it brings the young players to be they have a good role models, so they want to be the goalie too, and it just adding up, So yeah, they have some really good goalies lately, and I think it's gonna be even bigger number in the future.
What kind of support did you receive from teammates when they learned about your decision to retire?
Only the best one. I spent the fall here in Colorado, and I was going to the locker room regularly, so they were really supportive. I still felt like a part of the team even though I wasn't playing, so that was really nice. And even when I went back to Czech, I kept watching games and cheering for the guys, so that really helped for sure.
What was it like to be in Czechia when they won the gold medal this summer?
It was awesome. I worked on a national TV in a studio as an expert, so it was a brand new experience, and I couldn't have picked better tournament for Czech because we won after 14 years, and the whole country was upside down. So it was a huge event for us.
As you move forward as a scout with the organization, what do you see next for you? Do you think about coaching? Do you think about other roles you could have just in this kind of hockey world?
No, I'm just enjoying where I am now. It's just special to come back to this place, to this state, and see familiar faces and friends. So I'm really happy I can still be in touch with Colorado and with Avalanche. So I'm enjoying this role now, and I don't look farther.
Too tall.
Yeah, thank
So
you.
there you go, Pavel Francouz on his new role with the Avs and transitioning into the coaching side of the game. Whoa. As we are winding down here, we do have a bunch of super chats to get to, so let's hit those. Starting off with $2 from Vaguely Sober, who says, "What's Frankie's officially role with the team?" Well, now you know.
Sounds like more scout than coach.
More scout.
Yeah.
A lot of teams have gone to, what do we call the word there? A goalie department or whatever. You know what I mean?
They got a bunch of dudes.
I have to say, I want to say Florida was one of the first ones a few years back with ex-Avs goalie coach Francois Jaguar, but Francois Allaire, and then Roberto Luongo, and then they go and get, like, I don't even know who the guy on the ice is for Florida, but then, so they got everything covered from goalie scouting, from goalie, oh, let's have a chat, or let's go to dinner together, and to guys working on the ice. So it's a whole goalie department. The Avs are doing this now with Biller, that I was not jabbing earlier. So Biller's kind of gone into that role, and you can see that start of the draft, right? Obviously, like it or not, that's what they concentrated on this year, and have a little department around it. And sounds like Frankie was at the right time of his career to, jump into that side, in the sense that obviously his career was over as a player, and was able to jump in. And now that they got a Russian guy in the fold, and it sounds like you spent a lot of time with Kluche this year, right? But so I mean, he'll be able to even go to places like Russia and go from there.
$20 from Berkeley, who says, "Thanks for all the pods, AJ."
You're welcome.
$5 from Melanie, says, "Much love, AJ. Best of luck to you. Thanks for all that you do."
Much love to you.
$20 from Sean, who says, "AJ, you've been amazing to watch over the years. I've been watching since the days of BSN, and you've helped grow this pod and DNVR as a whole to one of the best in the biz. Best of luck on your next adventures, and Connecticut all love."
Thank you. I'm very excited.
And 28 from the incredible Drew, who says, "Can't stay for the live show, but I just wanted to thank AJ for everything he's done for the pod and will continue to do for DNVR. Going to miss you on the dailies, but good luck on your next adventure. Take care, guys."
Thank you. It's been a lot of love over the last 24 hours, and I appreciate all of it. And it's been great. And, I'm excited to see what all y'all do with the pod, and just know that I'll be listening while I drive.
No parents.
Yeah.
No rules.
Exactly.
We're burning it down while AJ leaves.
Oh.
No, I as sad as I am to see AJ go, we do have a lot of exciting stuff planned for the pod, and you'll still see plenty of AJ's stuff over on the website. He's already writing a ton over there, so if you haven't become a diehard yet, now's the best time to do it. You can get access to all sorts of content over there. You can also check out all of our other videos on YouTube. I just posted a couple on the Avs free agents that were signed over the last couple of days, so you can check those out. Lots and lots of stuff heading your way. I'm sure we'll have another roundtable up pretty soon.
Yep, after Dev Camp.
There you go. So more content there. We will be back on the pod tomorrow with another Dev Camp day, and then Friday's show will be in the evening, because the Avs scrimmage is at 4 p.m. Mountain for their Dev Camp guys. So we'll bring you some actual game feedback from the Dev Camp kids. We'll talk about some game situations and things like that. So it should be a fun rest of the week. While you guys enjoy 4th of July, we'll be here doing a podcast.
Maybe we will be able to talk about goaltenders.
Maybe.
After the scrimmage.
At least some. A little bit. A little tiny little bit.
Yeah.
But, that's Dev Camp.
Everybody thirsting for Matt Davis content.
Look,
We'll
I
have
get
something
it.
to give them.
I wanted to end the show with one rapid fire question. Don't think. Just say a team. Who's had the best free agency so far?
Nashville.
I have to second that.
2 Nashvilles.
Not Vegas.
Yeah, they've had
Definitely
the
not
anti-free
Vegas.
agency.
Agreed.
I want to
Agreed.
pick someone other than Nashville, but it's really hard to. I'll give Edmonton some love.
assuming they sort out their cap situation.
Yeah, they have
Yeah,
too
fair
many
enough.
forwards right now. They need to make some decisions.
A lot
but
of
it's
good
intriguing.
pickups, though.
Yeah.
For sure.
When they dump Evander Kane on somebody, it'll be great.
Yeah, basically, that's what it's lined up to be. I'm going to say not Nashville because I don't think they're good enough to win a cup, and they're going to regret those contracts in 2 years. So
That's why I'm a little nervous to say Nashville.
Team AJ.
there you go. We
We'll
are out of
see.
here for today. We appreciate y'all. We'll be back tomorrow with more Dev Camp news.
We all silly like the mayor.